pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, calling the roll call.
Sorry.
Mr. Polino,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Gill.
Yes.
Ms. Sharkey,
Yes.
Mr. Holden.
Yes.
And Mr. Perrin.
Yes.
6 here.
Okay, we're starting with delegates and visitors. The Winthrop High School cheerleaders, the champion with Winthrop High School cheerleaders are here tonight. So, John, if you would
Thank you,
lead
Mr.
us.
Mr. Chairman. If I may, before I introduce to you the national champions, I would like to just take one moment for the public today and introduce to you before a champion of sorts that's now going to become the Winthrop High School principal. And that is Mr. Crombie. Where's Mr. Crombie? Come on down. So I just wanted you to know that it wasn't on the agenda, and forgive me for my indulgence for 2 seconds, but as you know, we've had some changeover in the last month, and I took it upon myself to come down and be at the high school for the last month. I worked very closely with Mr. Crombie, Mr. Capasso, Mr. Serino, Ms. Rupp, and we've put together a good, strong team that I saw that each day I could start to get a real picture that this staff really worked well under Mr. Crombie's leadership, really connected with him, watched him work with students over the last month, really take a look and talk to them. Students never felt that either A, they were being intimidated or talked at or frustrated by that. They always walked away with feeling that they had part of the decision making when they needed to. I know that Mr. Crombie has only had a couple of years of experience as an assistant principal, but I will tell you this, Mr. Crombie, to me, is going to become a phenomenal principal in years as we see this. I think this is one of those moments where things worked out to our advantage, and I'm really proud to have Mr. Crombie now as our principal. He's not the interim, he's the principal, so. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity that's in front of me, and I'm really excited about moving Winthrop High School forward and eventually into a brand new school building. So, thank you.
So now, if I may, what I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, is if you could read one of the citations so that the public would see what that's all about tonight, and then I'll ask the school committee to come out in front after you've read it, and then we will introduce it to to our cheerleaders.
Whereas Aslan Guzman, or the entire cheerleading team, has served with enthusiasm and school spirit as a member of the Winthrop High School fall cheerleading team. Whereas the team and their fellow teammates were named NEC champions, they visited Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to compete at the Cheer LTD Nationals at Can-Am. The Lady Vikings competed in a 2-day competition against 10 other teams across the country, placing first on day 1 and clenching the victory on day 2, making it the first time in Winthrop High School history that the Vikings took home a national championship title. Resolved, the school committee of the town of Winthrop extends its sincerest gratitude and offers our best wishes for their future endeavors, and therefore be it, and made part of the official minutes of the Winthrop School Committee.
So at this point, if we could have the school committee come out front.
Give this one back.
And what I will do is, I'll announce the name and then. So ladies, when I announce your name, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna get your citation from the town of Winthrop School Committee, and you will then go right down the line. And then after we've done that, then we'll talk a little about your extraordinary event. So some folks are not here tonight because guess what? They're involved in spring sports, and so they may not be here. So I know the first one, Gianna Garino, I believe is not here because she's in softball. Yes. But this is also a great day for this next young lady because she no longer is on that crutch. Skylar Hilton, come on down. You got it off today, right? The boot came off.
Congratulations.
Is Olivia Robson here? Okay. But we'll applaud Olivia Robson. Alyssa Ferrara.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michaela Norris. Caitlin Driscoll. Molly Janellis. Chanel Taransky. Alexis Joyce. She's at softball. Kayla Heatherton. Acacia Lynch. Gia Corielli. Paige McGovern. Emily McGovern. She's Kelty Stafford. Aslan Guzman. Softball. And last but certainly not least, our captain of the national champions, senior Jessica Digliotta. I'd like to also bring up Stephanie Bono, who's one of our assistant coaches, just to congratulate her for all the great work she did with our team. And of course, our head coach, Rachel Mustone. National Coach of the Year, right?
Thank you.
Stephanie, I'm going to hand you.
Thank you and congratulations.
I'll have you guys go back and sit, and then I'll bring Rachel. Why don't you come on up for a second? So as you all are aware, at the last school committee meeting 3 weeks ago, I really did have an excuse why I wasn't here. And I have witnesses to tell you where I was. The most exciting thing for me was having the opportunity to be able to go down.
Yeah.
We left at 3:30 in the morning on that Friday. I don't know how excited we were on that Friday to go down there. But, and then we thought we were going home at 10:38 on Sunday night after they won the national championship. It was an extraordinary event that words cannot describe. But I will let Ms. Mustone just take a couple of minutes just to tell you their exciting year, how it all put together.
Words can't describe the year itself. I think that collaboratively we can all kind of agree that it was a roller coaster season. We had so many high moments that, it was so hard, but you never thought that you would ever feel something more than what we felt, when they first hit it, the Beverly Invitational, and, after that when we won NEC, it was like, the world exploded. You never thought you would ever feel something like that. You go against all these big schools, Division I, II schools that you're kind of just trying to get to the next round to get to your division, and then they win, and I'm like, oh my God, we have something here. We have something special here. And, it was at that moment, I think, Steph and I kind of knew what was going to happen, and we were ready. After last year and how not time consuming, but all the fundraising and trying to get down there last year, we knew that we had to do something huge to get back this year. So with not so many expectations and, you know, really high hopes, we were ready to go back, and to have gone down there on the first day with no expectations as to who we were competing against, to see them that first day, and to see us in the practice room with all these other teams and their jaws drop watching us practice was like the most amazing feeling in the world. I remember the one day we were practicing next to the college team, and even they turned around and they were clapping for us. And I think that was probably one of the highest points of the season, and we all felt this sense of accomplishments that we probably never felt before. And it was the best practice ever, and it was 10 minutes, you know, before we're about to compete. And, you know, after day one, when we knew we were in first place, you know, I think that the emotions got really high, and we were really anxious to get to that second day and just kind of, you know, give it our all and hope for the best, because we were only winning by, you know, 0.25 that first day. We knew that anything could happen. But lo and behold, these girls pulled it off again, and they brought us home a national title. And I am so, so, so proud of you guys. So thank you guys.
You know, a lot of credit has to go to the coaches, Rachel Mastone and Stephanie Bono. My job down there was just to make sure that the logistics were okay, that the girls, they ate and all that, and was there to kind of keep everybody calm. We made some halftime adjustments one night for their next day. We talked. I thought I was talking to Coach Belichick over to my right.
I have to say, he persuaded us in the right decision. You know, we had a really tough decision to make going into the second day to secure some points for the second day to secure the win. And without him, you know, he said it. You know, it's like you're in the halftime of a football game. You have to make adjustments. You have to move forward and make decisions. They're athletes. They can do it. They can move forward. And those were really the points that helped us win. So you get tons of credit for that, too.
I wasn't looking for that. But
No, but, you know, from us, that's what we said. Had you not said that to us,
how
we
about that,
probably
Mr.
wouldn't have done it.
Taransky? Finally, we can be on the sidelines and be listened to. So, but I just, it was a great experience. And we've got videos to prove, showing us the excitement of when we were able to finally be named Winthrop as the national champions. But our parents worked very hard. We had a 39 of us. You know, as you know, it took a while for 39 of us to get home. But we had a group of 44 people down there, and 17 girls were competing, but we had 44 folks there. So you can see how involved the parents were. And I have to thank Ms. Taransky for putting together a lot of the hotel arrangements, because we were the one group that had our own room to go to.
Absolutely.
To have dinner and breakfast all that time, and to whenever we needed that room. And you don't realize how special that was until you walked out and saw every other cheering squad, you know, pulling up a little rug here or there. Mm-hmm. And so I think that also helped them. But for the most part, it was these girls, what I witnessed was how humble they were. Mm-hmm. They were extraordinarily humble. And even after they won, folks came up to me later and said, wow, your girls from Winthrop, they were so humble in their victory and so nice that we don't see that a lot. Mm-hmm. And so they were very appreciative of that. And I really commend them for the work they did. And I know it was a tough journey home. We've all heard that story multiple times. And if it wasn't for my buddy, Mr. Angelo Vigliotta, I don't know how we would have got home. But he worked very hard with us. You know, he kind of took care of it from that end, working very strongly with Sean Driscoll back home, as well as Vinnie Crossman. And, you know, I've always said that
experience.
the unsung hero of Winthrop is Vinnie Crossman.
Yes,
I will
I
continue
agree.
to say that constantly. And he got us home. And then, of course, special thanks to JetBlue for the work that they did for us to, you know, kind of get us to where they did. They matched our tickets when we needed to. If you could have saw our faces when Spirit Airlines told us, yes, we'll get you home Thursday night. We were a little there. But,
it was a bit much.
But anyway, this was an unbelievable trip, and the girls did a great job. I'd ask one more indulgence if we could. How about we put the girls right in front of you guys? You stand up and we take a nice picture for the
Sure.
paper with the national champions, because they got their banner right there.
That's a great idea.
All right. Girls, you go right in front of the tables like you normally would. And you got the trophy, too. So. All right, there you go. Crombie High School principal has to get in the picture. Coaches. Yeah, why don't you guys go down? Some of you go down. My vision was you. There you go. That way.
Come on, do a pyramid or something, will you?
You guys sit down, we'll kneel in the back row.
Okay.
At least back. I know, right?
All right. It's okay.
That's what makes me
Hey,
look
John, you
tall.
want to go?
Sure, go right ahead. There you go, Mr. Crombie. You're right there.
Oh, there we go. I can get everybody.
Nice.
And let me get one more.
And don't move after she's done.
Now we want to get out of here, Mr. Oransky, tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, the last one.
I got her in there.
Okay, we'd like top fold again. I promised this group 3 top folds. All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I don't know if the committee, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you have any words before we move on, before I move to Jessica, but if you
Did a
had.
great job, but we're moving on to Jessica Vigliotti for Secretary of MASC, Student Council Secretary.
So now, the reason why Jessica, you all know why Jessica wasn't here either that night. And Jessica is kind of serving in 2 roles. As you know, she was the captain of the national champions. But more importantly, too, she was also the treasurer? Secretary of the state student council of Massachusetts, which was a huge position. And I'd like Jessica to just kind of tell us a little about what her job was this year.
So we have a state association. It's called the Massachusetts Association of Student Councils. And you basically run for a position at our state conference in March. I ran last spring as a junior for my senior year in front of about 80 schools, which is 1,200 students and advisors. And I was fortunate enough to be elected to our executive board. So it was me and 10 other students from across the state that served as members on this board. We have a president, a vice president, a secretary, 4 regional presidents, and then 4 additional delegates that were also elected at the spring conference. Our role and our job for the year, it's a March to March position, and essentially we have a really big relationship with the Special Olympics of Massachusetts. So we hold various events during the year that just connect students and Special Olympic athletes. We raise lots of money to donate to Special Olympics and to help out with the way that they involve other athletes and the way that they impact other athletes. We do a lot of community service work. We do a lot of networking from school to school. So if you have a school in the Northeast region, they could potentially meet other students in the Western Mass region and connect. And so it's kind of like your school is helping out my school because we're exchanging ideas. And it's a really amazing experience because over the past 4 years, I've made so many friends from all across Massachusetts that I would have never expected to make, and really just learned so much for myself and for also our community and our school that I've brought back that I've learned from other schools, which is really helpful.
So, it's kind of, Jessica went down there, and in order to campaign, to get these positions, you run in your junior year. I believe you're a junior to senior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica, what's interesting now that I just put 2 and 2 together, is that, Jessica, would you tell them your ad campaign that you did?
My campaign was Just Blue, a first-class MASC experience. It was a play on JetBlue.
And so we came home on
made it full
JetBlue. So where's
circle.
Molly? Molly, does that work right up your alley there, how we connected? So there you go. I mean, it just all kind of came full circle. So, Jessica, we want to thank you for representing Winthrop the way you did. And I'm sure you saw her all over Fox 25 and all over the stations. They were all over her at a station in Richmond, Virginia. So it was great. So thank you for everything. Okay.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Hearing nothing for public comment.
You guys can go.
Moving on to the minutes of March 23rd, 2015. Can I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Anything under academics, Mr. Superintendent?
No, not at this time. I'll save it for the next week.
Moving on to reports. Any subcommittee reports?
Buildings and grounds.
Buildings and grounds? Ms. Sullivan, could you bring us up to speed on the buildings and ground meeting?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We had a Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee tonight at 5:30 in this room just before this meeting. In attendance were the superintendent, Mr. Massaro, Mariella Sharkey from the school committee, Brian Parent from the school committee, Rich Safuni, the facilities manager, and Frank Wood. Frank Wood? The Woods, the curriculum director. Just can't read it right. On the agenda was the technology, particularly the internet issues, the Wi-Fi connections that we've been having at school, the sports fields and the playgrounds, and any other maintenance issues that have been ongoing. So we did talk about, there was a survey that went out to the teachers that demonstrated to us that the Wi-Fi connections at the schools are just unpredictable, and even though the teachers are attempting to use the computers every day, they frequently get kicked offline or are not sure if they're going to be able to get online for the lessons that they have scheduled. So we've identified that there's an issue, and there have been some improvements related to the bandwidth and splitting that up so that there's different passwords for faculty and guests and staff. That seems to have helped a little bit, but there are still some concerns, and right now there's the superintendent is looking into whether or not we need outside support at this time to move forward with our internet connections and so forth. We're also possibly having a tech audit by either Apple or McGraw-Hill. Those are some things that are in the works, and they would come in and look at the technology that's being used in the classroom, as well as I think as some of the Wi-Fi connection issues. Related to sports fields, there has been a delay in getting the spring sports going. Miller Field seems to be all set. Salucci Field over at Gorman Fort Banks is ready to go. And the DPW has been doing a lot of cleanup and repairs to the fields from the issues we've had over the fierce winter that we had. There will be an attempt to form a Miller Field committee that will be in charge of having a feasibility study to look at a new track and field complex and to look into funding for this as well. Playground issues, any ongoing playground issues principals should contact Rich Safuni, who will then contact Paul O'Donnell at the DPW for any repairs or concerns when they come up for any equipment that's currently there. And the school committee does know that we have it in our budget to pay for any repairs that need to be done, and the DPW will actually do the repairs for us. And that's the procedure that's been in place and should continue to be in place. Related to the Mariana Fabiano Inclusive Playground Fund, the school committee will address the appropriated amount as we work with the confines of our approved budget at this time, and it will be on an agenda item closer to the end of the fiscal year in June, when we are able to look at what sort of funding we have left in our budget. Mr. Safuni did relay to us that there has been some water penetration issues addressed, particularly at the Cummings School. It's been a long-term issue that there's been water coming in from various sources. The insurance company was called, and they've actually agreed to cover the costs of any of the inside damages that have come up, but they would not cover any of the outside repairs that need to be done. So Rich is contacting a restoration company to survey the building to identify what those issues are and what sort of budget we're looking at for repairing the building itself. A second issue, there was a roof drain leak that affected 3 classrooms at the Cummings School. There was a small air quality issue that there were some air cleaners put in the classrooms over the weekend, and then they were retested on Monday and they tested fine, so those issues were resolved. it sounds like right away they were resolved. And there was visible molds that was new, that was removed from one classroom as well. It was immediately addressed, and there currently are no issues of health or safety in that classroom related to the mold. It was all removed. There's been ongoing phone issues, whether it's maintenance or not having phones available in certain classrooms at the Gorman School and at the Cummings, I think, as well. And those issues are in the process of being addressed. Mr. Massaro, I don't know if you want to say more about that. I didn't write down in my notes much more about that, other than they were sort of ongoing and being addressed.
Yeah, which is what they have. We brought in East Coast, who did this building, and when we were, part of those issues are still from the swing space, and we've had them come in, and we've paid that out of swing space, so it's just a matter of making sure that there's connections to where those areas are. Right now, currently, it's not that they're not being able to contact us, they're using their own cell phones, and we feel that we should have that phone
Right.
within the room.
And lastly, Mr. Sifuni also recommended, in terms of a long-term plan, the schools should own a truck with a plow or some sort of a Bobcat device that would help clear the areas of snow so that we can do that more efficiently with our own janitorial staff. It would help us alleviate overtime and just get the job done much more efficiently and effectively. So those are things that we want to look at, I think, in the next couple of years, being able to purchase. And that was it.
John, any chance we could assign like a two-way radio to those rooms? I know we've got them, just so that they have that contact, so they're not using their own cell phone, and that it's live monitored, so that we're not worried about it hitting the,
Yeah, that's not a problem.
you know,
That's
that
not a
might be a
problem.
way to address it just temporarily, so that.
We'll take care of that.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, that's it.
Mr. Mayor, did you address the issue on the playground for
Yep.
the,
Want me to restate it, or
I'm sorry, did I
the
miss that?
funding?
The funding, you
Yep,
did.
I can,
Okay.
I'll restate it.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you.
So the school committee would like to appropriate funds for the Mariana Fabiano Inclusive Playground. We actually, one part I didn't say is that we did have on our budget to pay for the rubber surface, which is upwards of $30,000, correct? For that inner playground at the Gorman Fort Bank School. But related to an additional appropriation, right now we're working within the confines of our approved budget for this year. And in a school committee meeting in June, that will be on the agenda.
Superintendent's report?
Thank you. So, first thing I wanted to just touch base with today is, if you noticed the sign when you walked in, it's Wellness Week. And this morning, there was purple all around, and as you can see it out there, but we had a speaker in today, Chris Herron. Chris Herron is a former athlete who went to Boston College, went to UNLV, then played for the Denver Nuggets, the Boston Celtics. He's from Fall River. Chris Herron has spoken to the Winthrop High students back 4 years ago and returned again today to speak to our students. Chris is a person who suffered from multiple drug uses. He's a reformed drug addict. You know, he's had a serious history which has derailed a lot of his life in the sports world. Our students today listened to him, every word listened to his very, very powerful speaker. The kids were very involved, and when you have 750 kids in a gymnasium and you can hear the pin drops, you know that they're really in tune with what he had to say. And so it was a great way to kick off the week. There are multiple events that are going to be happening at the high school throughout each day. I know that the town also kicked off yesterday a wellness week with a road race. Congratulations to Amy Rodriguez, by the way, who I guess was first place in the road race. So there's some great stuff that was happening there, and we're excited that it's happened up at the school. We talked about, you kind of covered my tech update, which was good. We are working on multiple things that we're doing, again, with digital learning. That's one thing that I wanted to make sure. We're talking about the digital learning that we're doing. That's why McGraw-Hill is in here doing an audit with digital learning and taking a look at what are our needs on that. And we are currently looking at some outside sources for not only that, but for the infrastructure, because a lot of things that we're doing right now within the system is taking care of minute stuff that's slowing us down to get the things done that we need to get done. So we're looking at all of those areas. There is a program, next year Winthrop Public Schools is lined up for a program review in special education, as well as in the Title IX area for program review. So currently, Ms. O'Connell is handling all of our special education items under the program review. And Mr. Woods, because it comes with the territory, curriculum here and there, but Mr. Woods is handling all our Title IX issues that are, that have to be reviewed for the program review. And one of the things that we are doing, whether it's in the special education or in Title IX for policies that need to be updated because there might be a word here or there that we don't have in our policy that's been new from the federal policies. We are correcting those, and we will send those to the school committee for the policy subcommittee so that it can then come through and be put into our regular policies. So that will be coming down. School building update. As you see, the school building it's growing and growing by the day. And we will complete, there's going to be a topping off ceremony, which is going to be on April 28th, Tuesday, April 28th at 1 o'clock. School committee will be, we're inviting the school committee members, town council. And what that will happen is, this Thursday, they're going to bring the beam, the final beam that they're going to be placing up at the school, and they're going to be placing it out here this Thursday for our students to come out and sign it. And then they're going to place the beam over at the Cummings School on Friday. And the Cummings students can sign it. And then any student that's at the Gorman Fort Banks, because it is a half day, could come over to the Cummings School afterwards if they want to, and they can sign it. On the day of the 28th will be an opportunity for you folks to sign it if you would like. And then that will be placed up, and that will complete the steel erection of the building. And you will see that there are other parts that are starting to happen as we move along to that, but that's April 28th. The school is on time, and it's on budget. So we're really happy about that. Those things are moving along really well. And thank you, Mr. President, for appointing Mr. Crombie right away onto the school building committee, so we will not miss a beat on that. So we're very excited because we're now getting into the parts where now we're looking at all of the equipment and various things that are going to come into the school. There's going to be one of the things that I'll talk about a little later, but just in the job posting was the athletic director. We posted the athletic director. We're going to be doing interviews with the athletic director, so I've appointed a committee to interview. And on that committee, what I've appointed under Mr. Chara, who will, I believe our human resource director, will kind of oversee, but the 5 members on that committee I would like to have is our chair of the athletic subcommittee, Mr. Holden, Mr. Crombie, the principal, Mr. DeMarco, the baseball coach, Ms. Matucci, who is the girls soccer coach, and Ms. Eccles, who handles the school business end of it. So I think that committee makes up what we need to do for interviewing candidates. We have received a multitude of candidates, and so I know that Mr. Chara is looking at those. She will send them on to the committee, the people that we've selected that should be interviewed for it. And that will probably happen pretty soon. And then just one final thing, as you know, we're moving into April vacation next week. I will be leaving for vacation a little earlier. It's my 15th wedding anniversary Wednesday, and so I'm taking off tomorrow to go away. I will be out of the country, so I won't be available probably through cell phone, but I will be available through through internet. Miss Pearson, I think Pearson will handle any emergencies that are needed, as well as we do have an appointed principal, Mr. Crombie here, but we also have Mr. Woods who will help where he's needed if there's any emergencies on that end. So that's where we are, and if you would like, Mr. Chairman, I can go into the personnel, or I'll
Go right ahead.
Okay. As you know, under appointments, we appointed Matt Crombie as the school principal, and I'll tell you, it was exciting today. I had 750 kids in the auditorium, and I surprised them with that news, and they exploded. You would have thought I gave them Disney World. So, we do have a one resignation from the senior custodian, Steve Nickerson. That was in your packet. There are no retirements at this time. We do have some postings. There was JV tennis coach, volleyball assistant coach, summer programs director. We have posted special education teachers for next year, and the reason for that right off now is that we had some difficulty with hiring certified special education teachers towards the end of the year last year, and we had to put those on waiver. So we're required to either, if they've completed their waiver and they're now certified, great, but if not, we're required to make sure that we post and see that we can put a certified person in that position. High school AD position since the last time was posted, and the high school principal. We do have one leave of absence, and that's in your packet.
Financial and business
Oh,
procedures.
sorry.
Question. What's the plan for vice principal?
So, that'll be, Mr. Crombie will post that position, and it'll probably get posted sometime this week, and then we'll see how that goes. And it'll be up to him how he handles that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to financial and business procedures. The warrant, if I could get the warrant back, and also the payroll warrant. I don't have one in front of me.
We passed
Payroll
it that
warrant, do
way.
you have a payroll warrant?
We had them all.
Where did they go to you?
Right in front of you.
Oh, there they are, right there, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, no, we did have it, where was it?
The payroll warrant you want?
Yes.
Is that what you're looking for?
Both. I don't have either one in front of me. We passed them down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the, AP.
But where's the?
Okay, can I get a motion
Signed.
It's just
I-
not-
on warrant number SVW 15-16, in the amount of $209,839.40. That's $209,839.40. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes. Do we have a payroll warrant?
It's on the, we don't have a hard copy. It's from January 28th,
How much is it for?
2015, and it's for $600,311.41.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All those in favor? Oh. Okay, unanimous, moving on. As soon as I get my Dropbox back up. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go on to buildings and grounds. Winter High School girls basketball car wash, alumni game, and basketball clinic, as well as the class of 2017 car wash. Can I get a motion to take them all together?
I'll move.
Get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to unfinished business, the first reading of the background checks policy and the first reading of the student vacation extended leave makeup policy. Can I get a motion to waive the reading on both?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Moving on, new business, class of 2000, I think we, class of 2017 fundraiser, is that the same as the car wash?
But they're all on the same list, yeah.
Yes, so you apparently, since you've
Approved the
approved
use, so
the
I would
use,
say.
so I would say
But
you've
just to be
approved-
safe,
Right.
class of 2017 fundraiser request for the car wash. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous, it passes. All right, public comment? Do I hear any public comment? Hearing none, moving on to public relations. Ms. Polino?
Don't have anything, thank you.
Ms. Sullivan? Mr. Gill? Mr. Holden?
Just want to say congratulations to Matt Crombie. It was an excellent selection. I know the kids were thrilled, absolutely thrilled by that announcement, and I'm sure he's going to get all the support, not only from us, but from Dad at home, from the whole community. So, thank you.
And I also would like to join Matt and this, with Bill, and I'm sure all of us, with the appointment of Matt Crombie. I've known Matt Crombie since he's been a little boy. He showed leadership then, and he shows definite leadership as an adult man. Matty is one of ours, meaning he was born here, he was raised here, he went to school here. His father was a teacher in our school system, and Patty has worked within our community and outside as a nurse. His wife, Matt's wife, and I'm personally thrilled, and I'm sure that we will be hearing a lot about Matt Crombie. And I also would like to acknowledge that one of our ESPs died this past week, Maureen Donovan. Maureen was young. She was only 62 years old. Unfortunately, she died of cancer. She was one of our educational support people. She worked with us for over 14 years. She was the loveliest woman in the world. She loved children, and therefore she got the response back from the children because of her love and care. Most importantly, she loved her family, and her colleagues loved her too. Unfortunately, also, it was in the paper that she also lost her brother yesterday, so it's just kind of getting hit 2 times, and I would just like to offer our condolences to Maureen and her family. And to move on, I would just like to finally say how proud we all are of our girls' cheerleading team, our girls' hockey team, our girls' basketball team, for their, not just their accomplishments on the court or the ice, but also to say thank you for their outstanding character, their leadership, and also the strong role model of their coaches. We are so fortunate to live in Winthrop and to have these young people represent us as a school system, and I just want to say thank you a whole bunch.
That was wonderful, because I'll tell you, when you had brought up how other staff and faculty said how humble they were in their winning and how great they were on and off the court, that was just amazing. So. Okay, moving on to executive session. The chair anticipates going to executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Acting chair, I so declare. I will only be coming back in a session to adjourn. Can I get a motion for executive session?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I think I have to do roll.
Roll call vote. Mr. Shockey.
Yes.
Mr. Holden.
Yes.
Mr. Gill.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Cleo.
Yes.
Myself, yes as well, unanimous. And we're going to executive session.